Welcome to the next lecture. So, we looked at the meta marketing framework. Now, you look at how the marketing roles, that is, the role of marketing in a company, has started evolving. If you look at the first diagram, production, finance, marketing, personnel occupied equal space. So, you had a 25% importance given to each one of them in the beginning. So, marketing as an equal function along with the other three functional areas. Kindly note, in a company there are only four functional areas. It is production, finance, marketing and personnel. What we now see as systems, it is used by all these areas. Kindly note that also. What we look at the different things like this business process re-engineering, all those types of things, many times is not confined to one particular functional area. It will cut across functional areas in management. So you have this situation where you are looking at marketing as an equal function. This has changed where you are looking at marketing as a more important function. If you see this is a second diagram which tells you marketing is having a more important function. It is occupying more space compared to the other three functional areas of management. It has become so because marketing, or the role of marketing, has been perceived as more important due to the marketing economy which has started setting in. Now if you look at the third diagram, what is happening? If you look, this is more or less the way in which the Indian companies are now in. You are looking at marketing as the central function, and around marketing you are seeing the other functional areas, that is the production, finance and the personnel, revolving around marketing. So marketing has become major and the other functional areas are almost revolving around marketing. If you look at the next diagram, what should be really looking at, this is the way it is right now in the present day situation. It is a customer who is controlling the company. So customer is at the middle and you are looking at all the functional areas around the customer. So it is a customer centric function which most of the companies are doing. So the companies are forced to look at the needs of the customer and he is controlling what the company should be producing and what it should be marketing. So you have the customer at the center, you have the other functional areas, that is the production, finance, personnel and marketing revolving around him. So this is the way the marketing roles has evolved over the years. In the first diagram you had marketing as an equal function. In the second diagram you had marketing as a more important function. In the third diagram you have marketing as a major function. In the fourth diagram, as it is today, you are having customer as the controlling function and you have the other functional areas, all the functional areas of management revolving around the customer, whether it is production, whether it is finance, whether it is personnel or whether it is marketing. Now a slight change has also got introduced. What is the change which has come? The change which has come is, if you really look at it, the change which has come to the fore right now is customer still is the controlling function, but you have one more circle around the customer where it is mentioned that customer is, the marketing department is closely interacting with the customer. In other words, what is the marketing department trying to do? The customer's needs, the marketing department is integrating. It is serving as an integrative function. It is conveying the needs of the customer to the production department, and when you have these new product developments taking place, you have all these feedbacks coming from the customer. So you have the marketing revolving around the customer, and when it revolves around the customer, it acts as an integrative function. So you have the customer still as the controlling function, but you also have the marketing revolving around him. In other words, you have the top management of marketing always in interaction with the customer. The result is customer still controls, but marketing integrates. So you have customer as the control controlling function, marketing as the integrative function. Now, if you look at, I am giving you in this particular slide some basic marketing tasks. These basic marketing tasks are with respect to four aspects. One is with respect to the demand state. With respect to that demand state, what is the type of marketing task that should be done, and what is a formal name given for that type of a marketing. And some examples I have given for this. Suppose there is a negative demand for your product. What is a marketing task that is associated with this negative demand? It is to disabuse demand. What is a formal name given for this particular marketing? It is called conversional marketing. Suppose you have to sell meat to a person who is a strict vegetarian. It is a big task. Similarly, you have to tell as a dentist that the person who has come to you, his teeth or tooth has to be removed. It's a big task as a dentist to convince your customer that your tooth requires to be extracted, because he is not going to easily consent for that. Similarly, vaccinations. You thought that if your child should be vaccinated, but the child is going to resist this vaccination with all the force at his or her command. So these are the types of negative demand states which you can easily visualize. There may be a number of them. Suppose you don't have demand for your product at all. What will you do? So you have to create demand. What is that type of marketing called? It is called stimulational marketing. This is in a lighter vein, the example which I am giving you. Suppose a father-in-law were to give his son-in-law or gift his son-in-law a boat, but there is no water. What can this son-in-law do? This is the next question which you have to answer. How does he create demand for the boat? This demand for the boat can be created in a creative manner only. So this son-in-law can look at creating an artificial lake where this boat can be of use. Okay. Similarly, you have to sell a old barbed wire, let us say. Many of our people have done it. How have they done it? Especially the people from Punjab, when they are doing it in Western countries, many of these old products, these barbed wire products also, they are able to market these products as antiques. Okay. So, in other words, we are not short of talent. Okay. So, suppose the demand for your product is latent. It is there, but it is hidden. What should you do? You should develop demand for the product. That is called developmental marketing. What is this developmental marketing? An example for this could be, you are a smoker, let us say. There is always a tagline and there is always a caution line which is given on this cigarette pack. What is that? It says smoking is injurious to your health. In other words, it is telling you, don't purchase this product. If you take these cigarettes, it can cause damage to your health. Now, this has to be put on every cigarette pack according to the directions of the government. Now, suppose you say, I have come out with a cigarette. It causes damage to health, all right. But compared to other cigarettes, it causes less damage. Okay. So, what is it that you are likely to do? Look, take this brand A cigarette. It causes damage to your health. This brand B, which I am giving you, it causes less damage, which you can try. So, many times when you are telling a person to give up smoking, he says, suppose he were to confront you by saying that, look, you also come to smoking or you also try smoking. Will you be able to give up later? I will see. Then this type of branding can be helpful for such product. But not that I'm trying to advocate smoking, but for a company which is producing tobacco products, this can be one of the examples which you can think of. So if you see some of the things mentioned less. Next, suppose your demand state is faltering. The best example is the task that is to be associated with it is revitalizing demand. It is called remarketing. The best example for this is church membership. So in the present day, when everyone is questioning, oh, is there God, that thing, this thing, and all that. Now, similarly, church is also being questioned. So what are all types of preachings? So many times you find that people are asking, why should we contribute? So in a country like Germany, this type of contributions are not really promoted. That is the church contribution. So you are a member of the church, you can't. So it doesn't believe in that religious this thing at all. So, but for the church to survive, church has also got to survive. It has to do remarketing. How it will do remarketing? It has to do its own promotional aspects. So some churches said, you become a member this month, you don't have to pay. You don't have to pay this month also. You don't have to pay next month also. All those types of things. Suppose the demand for a product is irregular. Then what is the type of task that is associated with it? It is called synchronizing demand. It is the formal name for such a marketing is called synchro marketing. The best example for this is your peak hour travel. So if you want to travel in many of the European countries, peak hour travel by train is always costlier compared to non-peak hours. Many times it is double or triple. What is the objective? The objective is you travel during the peak hours only when it is a necessity. Otherwise, you are not going to travel during peak hours. When it becomes a necessity, that is you are going towards your office or things like that, then you go in for your monthly pass or whatever. When you go in for your monthly pass, the fare still comes back to the normal fare. That type of a scenario. Similarly, when the demand for your product is full, it was the case with HMT's watches in the 90s. What was the job? The job was in the 80s and the early 90s. The job of the company was to maintain demand, and it is called maintenance marketing. So HMT's watches was in this particular state straight from 70s, 80s and also up to the mid 90s without any problem. And when Titan came in, its demand started falling. Suppose you have a scenario where you have overfull demand, that is you are not able to really satisfy this demand. What should you do? Reduce the demand. This is called demarketing. The best example which you can think of is the use of the San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge by motorists too often. They wanted to use this Golden Gate Bridge. There will be a small sway which they wanted to experience. And the result is the authorities started putting a small tariff for using this Golden Gate Bridge. Okay, you want to go use the Golden Gate Bridge? Fine. But pay so many dollars. Use the Golden Gate Bridge. Now look at the rate of growth of Bangalore. It is harmful to the city itself. So what should be authorities be thinking? The authorities should be thinking how to curb the growth of Bangalore. That is demarket Bangalore. So how do you demarket Bangalore? One of the methods could be to impose a certain amount of tax for on settling down in Bangalore when it is not required. So this used to be the state earlier with respect to Bombay also, back in the 80s and the 90s itself. Suppose you wanted to move out to Bombay, they used to ask you questions. Suppose you wanted to move with your the luggage, everything, shift your residence to Bombay. You had to produce proof to the authorities, that is the police or the checking post, that you have been transferred to Bombay. So I am moving all these items. All these things had to be done. Now Bangalore is also in the same state right now. You have a bludgeoning population and a crumbling infrastructure. This infrastructure cannot really take care of this type of bludgeoning population. How do you face this type of a situation? In other words, you have to demarket. Suppose it is an unwholesome demand, the next stage. What do? You have to destroy demand. What is this called? This is called counter marketing. An example for this is you have to do counter marketing with respect to your alcohol, drugs and cigarettes. Now a few things are coming in the present day setup. Marketing is now looking at what is called the social initiatives. The social initiatives is taking different names. It is called corporate social marketing, cause marketing. Corporate social marketing refers to how you can be as a corporate useful to the society at large. Cause marketing refers to how do you contribute towards a cause. Maybe towards environment or greenery, things like that. Corporate philanthropy is where as a corporate you start donating certain amounts or whatever is the possible amounts to certain causes. Similarly, corporate community involvement is where as a corporate you involve the community in the development of the surrounding areas with respect to your company or some other designated area. Similarly, socially responsible business practices. So you start practicing some of these ethics. All this is coming under more or less ethical marketing practices, socially responsible business practices, where you say you don't market a product which is not ethical, like your drugs or things like that. You don't market such types of products. So these are things which companies should volunteer. Think, no, these things we are not going to be a part. Okay, so instead of the government coming in and stopping alcohol, things like that, so companies also should make it a point that the customers' health is also centric to them. So these are some of the socially responsible business practices which they have to evolve. Similarly, if you look at not to promote money laundering, not to promote shell companies, all these come under this category. So all these under these heads, we are looking at performance marketing. This performance marketing has two aspects. One is financial accountability and social responsibility marketing. Social responsibility marketing is looking at social initiatives, and when you are looking at social initiatives, you are looking at corporate social marketing, you are looking at cause marketing, you are looking at corporate philanthropy, and you are looking at corporate community involvement, and you are looking at socially responsible business practices. All these are coming under the umbrella of the social initiatives. So having looked at all this, we look at one important aspect with respect to this lecture, that is the holistic marketing. What is holistic marketing? If you look at holistic marketing, you look at this in this manner. That is, you look at aspects which are internal marketing, you are looking at aspects which are socially responsible marketing, you are looking at aspects which are integrated marketing, and you are looking at aspects which are relationship marketing. What are these dimensions? When you look at internal marketing, you are looking at marketing department, senior management, and other departments. You are looking at marketing function from all these angles. When you are looking at socially responsible marketing, you are looking at ethics, you are looking at environment, you are looking at legal, you are looking at the community, how the type of marketing that you are going to do is going to affect the community or going to benefit the community. That is socially responsible marketing. Then when you look at the integrated marketing, what are you looking at in integrated marketing? You are looking at communications, you are looking at products and services, you are looking at channels. All the three put together, this is what we are looking at in the integrated marketing function. Now in this present fiercely competitive marketing network, marketing environment, we are looking at this relationship marketing. What are we looking at in relationship marketing? We are looking at customers, we are looking at channel, and we are looking at partners. So as I mentioned, the job of the marketer doesn't end by selling a product to the customer. You have to have a relationship with the customer even after the product is sold to him. This is what is called the relationship marketing. When it is with respect to customers, you give the name as customer customer relationship management. When it is with respect to channels, you give the name as channel relationship management. When it is with respect to your partners, it is partners relationship management. So when you look at all these four compartments put together, they lead you to what is called the holistic market. The holistic marketing, in other words, encompasses all these four compartments. So this is the crux of what we are presently looking at in the present day marketing environment in India. We are looking at holistic marketing, and these are the dimensions of holistic marketing. We stop here. We will continue in the next class. Thank you.